Well, it finally arrived. The Imperium Magazine in the post. Here we go. So this is the copy that I'll be sending out to one of you, lucky few, and I'll be announcing that next week. Along with that came issue number 2. So here's the Necrons. I've done a review of that and I'll link that below. You get a lovely free paint and 3 Necrons that are impossible to build. That's not true. They are easy to build, but as I'm so used to bigger models, Space Marines, Death Guard, Custodes, they are a pain. Now with this delivery, you got a free gift too, and that was some plastic glue, Citadel clippers, and a metal scraper. These things, save them, but only if you're cutting clear plastic. This stuff will ruin your normal clippers, so make sure to only use these rubbish ones on them. If you want to do some proper cutting, you can get some nice clippers. Either the Citadel official ones, the proper metal, which are great, although mine have now blunted. I was cutting away at too many magnets, as that ruined them, so I've now switched to these from Warrior, and they're very comfortable, but they're a little bit fat on the head compared to the Citadels, so I'm still experimenting, and once I found ones that I love, I will of course let you know. Now with all that being said, the Postwoman is slightly behind the store release, which is a bit of a shame, as by subscribing you'd think you'd have the advantage or be ahead slightly. But anyway, up here in Norfolk, or across here in Norfolk, we had the release early, probably 3 months ago, so I already have my hands on the Imperium Magazine issue number 3. And this one came with 3 Assault Intercessors and the blue paint for Ultramarines. I'm not going to be using that paint, but great to have this. So I thought it was an opportunity for us to look through this magazine and discuss what's inside. Now you can find this in the shops right now, so if you really want to get your hands on these Intercessors, then run out and grab it right now. One downside that came with these is that the armor shoulder pads with the Ultramarine symbol are stuck on. They can be cut off. I've done it, and if you want a guide on how to do that, then comment down below and I will show you how I managed to do that and change mine for Fleshtearer shoulder pads. So starting from page 1, you can see that in this issue they include the Assault Intercessors, discussions around Dark Imperium, Tomb Worlds, and Assault. The Assault Intercessors that came with issue 3, Assault Intercessors on painting and building, and Hold Them Back, which is a playthrough guide. Some details behind the Assault Intercessors that came with this. There's one particularly nice model here that has its own frag grenade, and his bolt pistol, or heavy bolt pistol, is on his holster. They also come with an Astartes chainsword, which is a great weapon. This is one of the cheapest point units you can have in your Space Marine army. As a squad of 5, they come to 95 points currently, so very good option, and especially if you are running an army that loves close combat, Blood Angels, Fleshtearers like myself. Heading into the detail, you can have your battle record, as we've had in previous issues. Really nice touch still, and I love this effect that you're having the D&D elements coming into Warhammer with name generations and also their main specialties. With a bit of background story now of the Dark Imperium in the last days of the 41st millennium, etc. Really good read. I'm not going to spoil it for you here. It's worth picking up the magazine. Continuing that with the Domain of Mankind, and then touching back onto Necrons with Tomb Worlds. This is heading into some backstory that is well worth a read. There are some other amazing YouTubers out there that have really gone into detail on this, and I would highly recommend checking out those videos. I'll link some down below. And here we have the start of a great story with the assault on. I'm not going to pronounce that because I'll get it wrong. With that story continuing and showing off the models that are connected to it. Now we have your how to build these models. I've kind of been stepping away from showing the building steps in my videos. I've realised that even I'm bored watching them and editing them, so I'm sure you guys are too. I personally really enjoy building. It's probably just not that enjoyable to watch. I find it quite cathartic and relaxing. So if it's something you want to see or guides on how to clean your models up properly, then leave a comment down below and I can make a specific video on that. As I said, I find it very relaxing. I just don't think it's that enjoyable to watch. But I'd like to hear what you say. Here's the continuation on the build. They're monopose models really. You can move an arm here or there. But other than that, they are going to be standard for what they are. What more would you expect from a free model? That's fair enough. And here we move on to paints. So this is how to paint the model. It recommends using the paint and using a wet palette. You can pick up a wet palette from the Citadel store, but nothing in this magazine so far have mentioned spraying your models and priming them. That is a real shame, I think, and I understand that for beginners, suddenly having to pick up a £10 to £20 spray can, depending on what you choose to use, is another expense that you might not have been expecting, but I highly recommend it. It is not worth risking your models and letting the paint flake off them. It's a very easy thing to do, and as I can show you here, this is a Death Guard Terminator, and you can see he has been sprayed Wraithbone, but you don't get everywhere. So you can see there's slight touches there underneath where the original kind of grey is showing through, and there's even the black of the base, but it doesn't matter because that's underneath what I want to be painting. The downside you will have is that if you don't spray, then the paint can just flake off and all your hard work is wasted, and that's not worth it. So take the time, spray your models properly, and make sure they have a nice undercoat, especially if you're doing something like this where Wraithbone is the main colour for the model anyway, as you saw previously in my playcast video. I'll link that below. So take the time to do it, and it's worth it. Moving on, as I said, they're painting directly onto the model, which is a shame that they are doing that. I appreciate what they're trying to show, but it's not really the way that I think anyone in the community would agree with. So take the time and spray your model first. Don't ignore these steps because they're a great painting practice, but it's not the way to start painting your models. Spray first and then go to this step. As we can see, now that the blue has been released for the Lieutenant that came with issue 1, they can now show you how to start painting that. As you go through this magazine, you'll realise that whatever paint they've included, they'll show you how to paint that part and then leave the rest grey until the other paint is available. Obviously, if you're starting out, great process, keeps it simple, keeps it clean. I personally prefer to get my models painted and have the paints that I want to use ready. Everyone's going to be different, and obviously this depends on what army you want to collect, but if you go a bit too far with blue and cover areas you don't want to do, it is fine, but I think you might find it frustrating if you haven't got the other paints to cover those up straight away. I'll also link down below with my painting video for this Primaris Lieutenant, so you can see how I did it in Fleshtearer colours. Finally, they are showing the finished models so far. They say finished models, but it is nowhere near done, so there is a lot to go, but it's exciting to see how this magazine will progress, and you'll be able to take these models further. Now, hold them back. Here is your first mission involving the Assault Intercessors. The Necron Warriors had a battle last time against the Primaris Lieutenant, but now these guys get to have a go. So as before, it's a broken down and simplified version of the complete rules, but it's a great way to learn. If you want to learn any more, then visit your local games shop and the team there will be happy to help you. I know that my local store here has special evenings dedicated to teaching new players. As the battle progresses, it shows you what you should do in move, charging and fighting phases to make it very easy for you, and how the dice rolls are going to affect the game. You had dice that came with issue 1, so you should be set for that as well. And good luck with the game, with a final move and shoot phase to finish out the battle. Now here we have the reveal, which we knew previously, but it is the issue 4 with more Necrons. That will be coming out next week. And issue 5, which we discussed in a previous video, which will probably be sold out in most stores very quickly, as it is an exclusive model. So if you want this model, go grab it for yourself as soon as it comes out, but please don't scalp it. And there we have it. And the magazines I was literally just talking about also comes with the Leadbelcher. So Scorpec Destroyers and our exclusive captain. It's a really nice model. I think it will go fast, so it's definitely worth grabbing if you want to add him to your army. It does look like there are elements that are Ultramarine featured, but that might just be paint rather than actually moulded in. So it shouldn't be too difficult to get rid of those if that's not what your force is. And there we have it. That's the 3rd edition of the Imperium Magazine, and 4th is coming next week. But don't forget to like and subscribe, because I will be giving away a copy next week. And also I have a pile of shame with another giveaway to reveal. That's an exciting one and quite a big giveaway, so don't forget to follow and you'll be the first to hear about it.